have a question for you guys. I know who I think in my mind. I can answer this question, but who's a player that you guys played with that had the weirdest ritual, superstition, or just weird dude?
I would say right off the top of my head, great question, number one. Cliff Ronning. He was so superstitious about black tape, and obviously a white knob, white tape. He taped like all the way from like the hosel all the way.
The sock.
The
sock.
Yeah. And if there was black tape anywhere around him, it was like he had to go pick it up, or if there was a black tape stick on the other side of the dressing room pointing to anywhere towards his stall, he would have to go move the stick and put it on a different angle of the wall so it would go away from it. And I kind of pick up on guys like little rituals, how they, tap their skate a couple times, and they do all that kind of stuff. And, if it works, they'll do the exact same thing. Obviously, I don't know if it's ritual or superstition, but, Cliff Ronning was always, I was very interested in watching him all the time, just kind of move stuff so no black tape was going anywhere near him.
That's why I've never heard that one before. That's good.
What about you sitting there, doing his pads up, and and I sat, I think, 2 down from him, in the skate zone there, and he'd come up, and he's speaking to me in Russian, and like looks at me in the eyes, says like 3-4 sentences, like 30 seconds long or whatever, and then goes back and doesn't
wait for you to reply in Russian.
Yeah, and he says a couple like other words or whatever, like looking at me. And I said, "Listen," I said, "I don't know what you said. You could have called me every worst word under the sun." I said, "You talk to me in Russian one more time, I'm going high at you every practice from now on to the end of the year." And he's like, "Oh, sorry, Scotty, sorry." I just kind of I thought I was kind of in my own head. Sorry. I'm like, okay. I'm like, get me out of here. Get me away from this guy. Another quick Torts story was first like 8-10 games of the season. I'm on the 4th line with Sam Gagne, and we have like, I don't know, 8 points in 10 games or whatever it is, right? And in a close game, tie game, close game, we're up one or 2 goals. I couldn't see the ice the last like 12, 15 minutes of the game. So I'm playing 8 minutes a night, right? And actually like almost leading the team in scoring, And so I finally asked him, like, Torts, why can't I, get on the ice in the last 10 minutes? Like, he goes, you're way out of position defensively. Like, I don't trust you out there, number one, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'd love to watch some clips with you to see where I'm out of place defensively. Like, I think I'm doing a great job defensively. No, you're not. So anyways, the next day, he's like, I'm going to have, Brad Larson, the assistant coach, cut some film and, we'll show you how bad you are. And I'm like,
yeah. I'm like, thanks. Okay. Confidence is high right now, Torts.
Next morning in practice, he comes up to me. He's like, I want to apologize to you. He goes, we looked at every single shift that you had in the first 8 games. He goes, you haven't been out of position once. He goes, it's my bad. He goes, I just think I don't trust you out there. He goes, it's just I can't put you out there. I physically can't. And I'm like, holy shit, this doesn't make any sense, And
at least he's honest.
Yeah, and that's one thing Torts is. If he doesn't like one part of your game,
right, he holds it against you almost, right? Yeah,
he's hard on his guys. And one more Torts story. Zach Werenski, one of the best offensive defensemen right now in the league, and. It was his rookie year, and he might not be the best defensively. I think he's learned a lot in a few years, but we're in Winnipeg, and he's a couple turnovers, like somewhat like late in the game, and maybe middle of the 3rd period, and he goes, I don't want to see him out there any more shifts, right? to the D coach or whatever, and I don't know if he just lost count of it. He's like, Z and Jonesy, you go, and screws up one more time, big, and they had a huge chance, and he goes back there, he goes. And Zach's coming off the ice too. He goes, "Set that rookie down." He's like, he's not seeing the ice again. And the kid hears the head coach, coming back to the D coach, just crumbled. Right? He just, sits there and takes the tape off. So he's like,
that's it.
His skates are undone.
Go grocery divider, slide over.
Oh man,
too good though. And it's tough love, right? That's the whole.
It really is. Yeah.
You just coddle him and say, "Okay, better luck next shift," or. You're going to get scored on, lose the game. It's all about winning and losing. And
it is.
And Torts, doesn't make many friends out there, but he knows how to win. So.
He's a good human, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he really does care about you. Like, Hartsy, that.
Yeah.
But he's
he just knows how to.
Paul Kariya for a year or 2 in Nashville. Right. Peter Forsberg, like those are the elite of elite, right?
Right.
And when we signed Yogs and, Bruno, like I started that year on the 4th line with Matt Reed and Talbot, I think it was.
That's
and then
right,
I got a break to play with them. I told my agent, I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing with Gian Yox. Like, I need to have a good game tonight. I need to snipe or whatever. Didn't score off the score sheet, but played like really good. I'm like, called him after the game. I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm back on the fourth line. The ups and downs of playing. And then, it was within the next game, and I got 2 goals, 2 assists, and I was like, then we just like took off from there. And just Yogs was, I wish I would have played with someone who was that good, that worked that hard when I was 20.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like to see that guy, the effort, the workouts before, after, at night, how he just loved the game. And obviously I loved the game, but the amount of work that he put in, and he made me a better practice player. He was telling me a couple times during the year I was maybe hung titties or whatever in the morning, and would kind of slough off through practice. But he would be like, "Hey, Harts," he's like, I didn't come here just to fool around. He's like, "You practice how you play." He's like, "I don't want to see you act like that again." And I'm like, kind of shaped me up, right? I was like,
sure.
Wow, and I kind of paid that forward throughout my career in Columbus and Nashville, right? Making sure everyone was on the same page and all that kind of stuff. But he was just a great human, and just always had a smile on his face.
Yeah.
Did he not?
He sure did. He did. He always did.
Let ask about it. It's a great story. And I think we were in Phoenix, and I saw the sign in warm up, and it was like Hartnell down 145. And I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, and this is like middle of the year, like game 50. And I'm like, what the hell is this?
Some kind of countdown.
Maybe it was some game 30, who knows? And then two games later, we're in Anaheim, and it was like Hartnell down 162. And I'm like, what does this mean? And, it's up however many. And I'm like, Nasty, can you go talk to those guys? I think it was a guy and a girl. Can you go talk to them and figure out what's, what this Hartnell down thing is or whatever? So he goes warm up, right? And he looks at me. He's like, Scotty, come here. And so I leave the dressing room, and he goes, you're never going to believe this. he goes, they count how many times you fall down on the ice. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, they count how many. You're like, I don't know if you get tripped or fall down or get hit or whatever. And I'm like, these assholes, whatever. So I tell my agent, and he starts laughing, Hartnell down, hilarious, right? And Twitter obviously is still huge, but it just was kind of booming for athletes and stuff like that. Right. And got the the hashtag Hartnell down, and there's all kinds of drinking games, like if you fell down, you do a shot, right? Yeah. And people were doing 7, 8 shots, 10 shots during a game, just buckled in. But yeah, then we made this. I think my agent's wife got these 500 T-shirts, sold them, and they were gone in like 10 minutes, right? I tweeted about it, and people went on and bought these $20 T-shirts, and then she got 2,000 of them. I tweeted, they're back in stock. Boom, they're all gone. And next thing you know, we had $10,000-$15,000. Like, let's start a charity, and ended up working with Ed Snyder Youth Hockey Foundation. Got some kids from Philly to go to the Minnesota hockey camps where I was training at, and TJ Oshie, Wayne Simmons, a bunch of good hockey players. So these kids are coming. 12, 13, 14-year-old kids are coming to Minnesota and training with us, and it was just real cool to see how someone poking fun at you turn it into something so positive and giving back. So it was just hilarious how it all started, and boys were loving it and chirping me on Twitter and face to face. It was great.
That is great.